Beware of whack-a-mole cost management. I love hearing from former students tackling real-world business challenges, and I'm always happy to offer guidance. Recently, one reached out to ask about negotiating service rates. Okay, I said, how big is the opportunity you're pursuing, and what does the resource plan look like? Well, we don't have an engagement yet, he replied. We're just negotiating the rates, lower, before we engage them. My heart sank. He was trying to negotiate rates before there was any commitment, before there was even a deal on the table. I told him it was pointless for two key reasons. One, you have no leverage. Without an actual engagement, the only thing you're offering is the vague possibility of future work. Suppliers aren't going to lower their rates meaningfully based on speculation. Two, rates are just one variable in cost management. Cutting rates alone doesn't necessarily reduce costs. Like a game of whack-a-mole, if you push one cost down, another will pop up somewhere else. Why cost management can be a self-deception. Even when you succeed in lowering rates, it doesn't always translate to real savings. Let's say the standard rate for a role, a category, is $100 per hour, and you negotiate it down to $90. You might pat yourself on the back for cost savings, but the supplier only needs to add 6 extra minutes per hour to recoup the difference. Not fraudulently, just less efficiently. In the end, nothing has changed, except that you've deceived yourself into thinking you've saved money. Another way to look at it, negotiating rates alone is like squeezing a balloon. You can change the shape with great satisfaction, but the volume inside remains unchanged. You can whack it down in one place, and it'll just pop up in another. Hence, whack-a-mole. But I can fixed price it, you say. Sure you can. That was a clever idea in 1952, but you need complete and stable requirements to do that, and most businesses don't have that luxury. Trust me, I've witnessed the pace of business steadily accelerate in my time. It takes time and just as important effort to assemble such requirements and then papering the deal carefully so there's no ambiguities. In doing it, just you're trading one inefficiency, higher price for another, internal effort cost. Pick your poison or don't. What should you do? Instead, to truly manage costs, you need to look beyond rates and focus on the bigger picture. 1. Effort, time spent. As we've established, efficiency matters as much as rate. Pushing rates down without addressing efficiency is just shifting costs. 2. Personnel seniority. More senior personnel cost more, but they aren't always necessary. I segment roles by experience level and negotiate based on the actual work required. With rates locked, I then negotiate the right mix of experience for each engagement. Often, suppliers end up assigning the same person at a lower rate simply because they don't have an endless pool of workers at each level. 3. Onshore-offshore ratio, global sourcing. In offshore engagements, you need to manage the head-to-tail ratio, the mix of onshore and offshore resources. Suppliers prefer lower onshore ratios to maximize margin. If a lower ratio makes sense initially, structure the contract to allow adjustments over time as conditions stabilize. 4. Finally, use the supplier performance management techniques. See video #608. Don't overcommit to a source. Stock the pantry with multiple redundant sources and gradually swing business to those that demonstrate alignment with corporate goals. The real goal, the aim isn't to drive suppliers into losses. They need to cover costs and make a reasonable profit. Just like any business, your job is to manage the magnitude of that profit and keep them accountable for efficiency. If you push their margins to near zero, they won't stay in business or keep you as a customer. If you expect them to operate on 5% profit, they'd be better off buying government bonds and avoiding all the risks of having an enterprise. Smart cost management isn't about squeezing rates for sport. Let me say that again. Smart procurement isn't about squeezing rates for sport. It's about structuring deals that balance cost, efficiency, and long-term sustainability. The best procurement leaders don't fixate on rates. They focus on total value, efficiency, and sustainable supplier relationships.